All right, welcome and hello to the Blizzard stage at Gamescom in Cologne. We're coming to you live from Germany. And as you can hear, everyone is as excited as can get in this lovely hall. And I'm pretty sure every World of Warcraft fan out there watching the stream is bursting with excitement because in just a few minutes, we're going to reveal the new World of Warcraft expansion. We're going to have 3 members of the lovely World of Warcraft development team coming here on this stage, revealing the expansion and sharing everything they can with us today. But before all of that is going to happen, I just want to make sure that we're all up to speed, right? We want to know where we stand right now in World of Warcraft, and that's why we prepared a little video for you on the story so far. And I tell you something, apparently I have been told that there's a little surprise at the end, so let's try to watch out for that, and let's look at the video.
The Iron Horde will prevail, and all that stand against us will die. Storm the portal! Rise up, Iron Horde! Bring your war chief. Their heads. This was not our destiny. You will all die!
Just you.
You must answer for your crimes, Garrosh. All I did for the Horde! You chose your own destiny. How dare you show your face here, Gul'dan? Your men have died for nothing. There is only one choice. I will build a new Horde. I will forge an unstoppable weapon. They will defy you. Gul'dan failed. Jaina is free!
You don't think it's over?
I fear this is only beginning.
All right, so that is the story so far. Interesting. So now, of course, the big question is, where do we go next? What is happening next? And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one curious to that question, and that means we really want to know more, don't we? We do indeed. And who better to ask some questions and then the game director and vice president himself, Tom Chilton, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, it's always great to see you back. It's not your first Gamescom. You're looking at so many excited faces. How excited are you about this announcement?
No joke. This is really, really exciting. This is amazing. I love coming to Gamescom, and frankly, this is why.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing crowd. That's pretty darn obvious. Yeah, it really is. Now, you can tell the atmosphere here is pretty good, I would say.
Yeah,
it's pretty darn good.
So.
How is it in the office? You guys have been working on a secret for such a long time now.
Yeah, we really have. We've been in production on this expansion for quite some time now. And it's always very hard to keep things under wraps and talk about what's happening right now and not really spoil things for the future too much. So it's really exciting for us, really gratifying for us to finally be able to share that with you all.
Well, the good thing is, I read a lot of suspicions and leaks, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone really hit the nail so far, so that, no one did. And that makes it all the more exciting. Now, you brought us a little something to ease into the topic. What are we going to see now?
Right, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a video that it's really an important connecting point between the end of the storyline of Warlords of Draenor and the next expansion. And so hopefully you guys will really get excited for what that connecting point is.
All right, so let's take a look at it. Goosebumps right now. I can't even. All right, let's talk about what we just saw. This is part of the CGI, if I understood correctly.
Well, this is actually a completely independent piece that is just meant to be a connecting tissue between the expansions. You know, clearly Khadgar was right not to trust what just happened with Gul'dan, that we wouldn't see the last of him. So Gul'dan, in much the same way that Garrosh Hellscream set in motion the events of Warlords of Draenor, Gul'dan is setting up the events of the next expansion.
Oh my God. Guys, are you excited for this expansion or what? Wow. All right, but of course, there's a lot more before we're going to reveal, because that isn't even the big reveal yet. There's more to come. You guys have more to share, as you have a team of development guys here on stage in just a bit to talk about it and give some more in-depth views on it and see how much you can share. But you brought us another video, right?
Yeah, we did. So next up, we're going to see the actual announcement trailer with the features and content. So let's roll it.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this announcement trailer right now.
On Draenor, old rivals sought to bring Azeroth to its knees. And while the Iron Tide was quelled, they were but servants of a more ancient foe that has not forgotten our defiance. The vengeance of the burning shadow has come. And in our most desperate hour, we must wield the power of the enemy against them. For we stand once more upon the brink of destruction. burning legion has returned.
All right. World of Warcraft Legion. That's the next chapter in the saga of the World of Warcraft. So what we have for you next is actually going to be a presentation by both myself and a couple of my other colleagues to go into more depth on the content and the features. So hopefully you guys will learn a lot more about the expansion. But first, let me introduce my colleagues. First up, we have Alex Afraziabi, our creative director. So Alex was one of our very first quest designers, and he was actually the very first lead quest designer ever to exist on the World of Warcraft team. He's driven a huge part of our story development for the last dozen years. So Alex. Next up, we have Ian Hazakostas, lead game designer. So as lead game designer, Ian's responsible for a lot of things. Most recently, you guys may be aware that he's been responsible for our boss encounters for both dungeons and raids for many, many years now, several expansions. In addition, he's been responsible for class design and other sorts of systems. So really a huge, huge factor in the last 7 or 8 years of the World of Warcraft. Ian. All right, so to get to the point, we're first going to be talking about story, give you a little bit more insight into the events of World of Warcraft Legion. What you see on the screen right here is actually a teaser still shot from the introductory cinematic that will be revealed at a later date, coming relatively soon. So eat it up. Right there, clearly, a pretty significant character is involved. We'll also be talking about setting. As mentioned in the video, the Broken Isles is this new continent that players haven't experienced before, but has been referenced back in Warcraft 3. We'll be giving you more insight into the zones and the inhabitants of those zones and what happens. We'll also be talking about dungeons and raids. We've got to have dungeons and raids. We'll be talking about those artifact weapons you saw about. A little concept piece there from our team. Neat stuff. We'll be talking about demon hunters, of course. New class. And finally, the new PvP honor system. We'll be going into detail on exactly what that is and how it works. So I'm going to hand it off to Alex to talk about our story and setting.
Thanks, Tom. Well, well. Hello, Gamescom. I am honored to be standing before you today to be talking about our new expansion. I do want to mention one thing. I am not Chris Metzen. I'm a little taller, my nose is bigger. That's how they tell us apart at work. All right, let's get to it. So Legion takes place on the Broken Isles. This is a land at the heart of Azeroth that is long forgotten. 10,000 years ago, before the Great Sundering, this whole area was a vast, bustling night elf civilization. And what we have now, after the world was destroyed, is the bones of that civilization. So this continent, in its entirety, is a graveyard of sorts. And it's on this continent that we will discover the Tomb of Sargeras. That's right, some old school War 3 players. Now the tomb is an active gateway to endless Legion worlds thanks to Gul'dan. A demonic invasion bigger than the War of the Ancients is currently underway. Let me repeat this. This is the biggest demonic invasion of Azeroth ever. And what are we going to do about it? We're going to sit around. We're going to fight. That's right, because that's what we do. And to do that, we're going to track down the source of this invasion at the Broken Shore and take the fight directly to Gul'dan and his demonic armies. And after a glorious battle at the Tomb of Sargeras, our story will begin. So this whole thing will actually start before the expansion even officially launches. The Broken Shore experience, someone's happy. The Broken Shore experience is like the Assault on the Dark Portal for Warlords, but structured completely differently to help tell the story a little bit better. And I think one of the things that's going to happen after this experience is every single person in this room that has played WoW in the last 5 to 10 years is going to be really, really surprised and shocked. 100% sure on that one. Is that right? I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate from Twitter on that. Okay, so let's get into it. Once the dust settles, after the Broken Shore, we will wake up to a world on fire and probably a massive headache. But we're not going to let a headache stop us from saving our world. Oh yes, we will hoist up the fabled artifacts of those we have lost and those that have lost hope. And we will attempt to restore peace to a world on the brink of annihilation. And to help do that, we'll form class orders, powerful class orders, or renew old ones, like the Silver Hand. This is a combination of extremely super exciting features for us. Ian's going to go into a lot more detail on that shortly, but it's amazing, guys. How are we feeling about those demon hunters, guys? Sorry, I can't hear you. I was getting water. How about those demon hunters? Good? We're going to need all the help we can get to fight the Burning Legion. And who better than demon hunters? I mean, it's in their name. But to do that properly for us, we need to establish context. Because guys, the last time we faced demon hunters at all, they all wanted to kill us, mostly. And after this, they may still want to kill us a little bit. So we will see through Illidan's eyes the story of the demon hunters, the Illidari. We will go back to the moment during the siege of the Black Temple where we see Illidan send his demon hunter Illidari back on a special mission. So, anyone play Burning Crusade in here? Yeah! So you guys remember back in the Burning Crusade when we were running up the Black Temple in the halls and we were all excited to go take out Illidan and we're praying for Warglaives to drop? Well, Illidan had other things going on in the background, like sending his best, most elite demon hunters on a suicide mission. So we'll go through their past into the shattered demonic prison world of Mardoom. This is the world that Sargeras created when he was a good Titan to hold all of the demons that he captured in the entirety of the universes. And when Sargeras went bad, This is the world he shattered and released what would become the Burning Legion. We'll go there. And we'll come into the present, where we will go through the secret halls of the Vault of the Wardens. And when all is said and done, we will learn what it means to be a demon hunter and understand the true meaning of sacrifice. And we'll turn into awesome metamorphosized demon hunters. Tom's going to talk on that later. But guys, this is Warcraft. And I did say that this was the biggest Legion invasion we have ever faced. So I don't know if artifacts and demon hunters are going to be enough. We're going to have to turn to the big guy in the sky, or big guys and gals in the sky. And I'm talking about the Titans. Yes! No, well. We're going to scour the Broken Isles for the Pillars of Creation. These are Titan relics that were used to shape the world when it was young, when it was first born. And it's only with these relics that we can actually close this massive gateway, this wound at the heart of the Tomb of Sargeras. Now, speaking of help, Dalaran and the mages of the Huron Tor, now led by Khadgar, will also be joining us. And that means Dalaran is going to be coming to the Broken Isles and becoming a main hub for players for this expansion. Let's hear some love for Dalaran. We all love it. Now, I can't say where Jaina went, but she was pissed off when she left. Now, let's talk about some zones in no particular order. Our quest to defeat the Burning Legion goes to Val-Shara. Once the pinnacle of Druidism on Azeroth, now a forgotten Druid refuge on the Broken Isles. This is the place, guys, that Malfurion became the first Druid under Cenarius. So this whole area is steeped in really rich lore, especially if you're a fan of Night Elven Druidic lore. It's all here for you. Here we'll face Xavius, the Nightmare Lord, and his massive Satyr armies. And what are they trying to do? What does Xavius always try to do? He's trying to unleash the Emerald Nightmare into our world. So along the way, we'll meet up with demigods, like Cenarius, and aspects, probably Ysera, definitely Ysera, all to help us fight back the Nightmare. And we'll also enter the Obsidian Fortress of Blackbrook Hold. So if you know your lore, you should be pretty stoked. And Ian's going to show you some awesome stuff there later too. But if we can't fight back Xavius and stop the Nightmare from coming into our world, it's pointless. Pillar or no pillar, we can't beat the Legion. So what are we going to do? We're going into the Emerald Nightmare, and we're going to dispense some justice. And while we're there, we're going to get a couple big glimpses into the Emerald Dream. We've been talking about it for a while, and it's time. All right. On to Stormheim. In Stormheim, we're going to uncover the fate of Vrykul that left Northrend thousands of years ago in search of their Holy Land. We'll discover the Halls of Valor and Helheim, home to two Titan Keepers that have been warring for thousands of years. We'll also learn of the origins of the Valkyr and the Kavaldir as we ride the massive ship of souls, the Naglfar, into the Maw of Hell. And all the while this is going on, we'll be fighting the Vrykul's God King and his minions, who are now pawns of the Burning Legion. Stormheim's a beautiful area, by the way, and totally scary. Azuna. Oh, beautiful Azuna. So you know when I first talked about what this expansion was built upon, the bones of that ancient Night Elf civilization. Nowhere is it better represented than in Azuna. The first moment you step on the territory, on the zone here, you will instantly see that this place was once something very special. And it's still special in a different way. Here we'll discover the ghosts of ancient Night Elves of the area, a dying breed of the Blue Dragon Flight, and we'll be introduced to the Nightfallen, exiled royalty from Suramar that have been left to die outside the protected walls of their city. We'll also be racing someone named Queen Ajara and her minions for control of the Pillar of Creation in this zone. Overall, a pretty epic experience. Moving on. High Mountain. High Mountain. At the highest point of the Broken Isles, we find High Mountain, home to the High Mountain Tauren, the keepers of the relic of Khaz'goroth. Also, the keepers of really badass horns, if you paid attention to that cinematic before us. If you didn't, you got to check it out. Huge elk horns. High Mountain's rough terrain. Rough, tough, it'll kill you. Which is why only the biggest and strongest creatures of the Broken Isles live up here. Like the Drogbar. And we're going to have to kill a lot of Drogbar to save this world. And while we're there, we're going to visit the lair of the Earth Warder, Neltharion, and seek some answers, and hopefully get some answers. For those of you that don't know, Neltharion, during the War of the Ancients, became Deathwing. You know, that guy knows. Became Deathwing, and then during Cataclysm, he just became dead. And so, we don't have him to worry about anymore, but we have other things. While we're up here, we may also run into some other friends. This is a big area, there's big game, there's a big hunt. Nessingwary is going to be close by. A lot of Nessingwary love. And lastly for today, guys, I'm going to hit on Suramar. At the heart of Suramar, we will discover a new race of elves, made off of an old race of elves. These elves have lived here for the last 10,000 years and flourished from the use or abuse of their incredible magical ability. Unfortunately, they have become pawns of the Burning Legion as well. More bad news, they have the last relic that we need. So what that means is we'll have to kill every single one of them, plus all of the elite Legion guards that guard their city, and probably Gul'dan to secure that last relic. I didn't say it was going to be easy. One last thing before I hand it off to Ian. I want to head off one question. I know there will be thousands of them after this presentation is over, but one question. This is a question that we have been asked at every single BlizzCon since the inception of BlizzCon. And I'm happy to announce it here at Gamescom. What about Valeria and Turalyon? Their time is here. Thank you. Ian?
All right, hello Gamescom. Thank you, Alex, for that great introduction to the Broken Isles and the world of Legion. And I want to talk a bit about artifacts and class orders that you saw in the intro video, and then we'll move on to talk about dungeons and raids. So, artifacts. Weapons, obviously, but what are they? What's the deal with them? So, as Alex mentioned, the Legion represents the greatest single threat to our world that we have ever faced. And in order to fight this ultimate enemy, we need the ultimate weapons. We need weapons of greater power than any we've ever had before in order to stand a chance. And that's where artifacts come into play. Every single specialization in the game is going to have their own artifact to seek out and to wield and to use against the Legion. So depending on your class and your spec, that will heavily affect the way your story plays out and what you're interacting with in terms of the system. So, well, what are they? How do they fit in? The first thing you're going to do when you begin the Legion experience after the events of the Broken Shore is seek out the artifact for your spec. Follow your destiny and heed that calling to take up this ultimate weapon. And that experience is going to vary depending on what class and what spec you play. So for example, if you're a Retribution Paladin, you'll be returning to the location of the Broken Shore to find and seek out Ashbringer, where it fell in battle and was lost, so that you can take it up and wield it. If you're a Protection Warrior, you will follow up on the legends of an ancient Vrykul king who was buried with a sword and shield forged from the scales of the dragon Neltharion, who later went on to become Deathwing. You will delve into his tomb and overcome the ancient curses that lay there in order to wield those weapons for yourself. If you're a Frost Death Knight, well, what is the ultimate Frost Death Knight weapon? Frostmourne, right? Well, Frostmourne was shattered. But the first thing you're going to do is go to Icecrown Citadel, find and seek out the shards of the weapon where they lay after the fateful encounter with the Lich King at the end of Wrath of the Lich King. You will take those shards up and you will reforge them into a pair of rune blades that are the ultimate Frost Death Knight weapons. So these artifacts, they are your true companions. They are the things upon which you will rely as you journey through the Broken Isles and through the world of Legion. As you level up, you gain experience, your character gains levels. But as you accomplish deeds in the world, you will also earn artifact power for your weapon. Artifact power is something you will earn through a wide variety of activities, whether completing a major quest line, killing a dungeon boss, outdoor objectives, winning a PvP battleground. Virtually any major type of activity in World of Warcraft will contribute to leveling up your artifact. Now, this artifact power that you earn, what do you do with it? Well, you're going to spend it to unlock traits that empower your weapon and empower your own character. In addition, you can also have a number of visual customizations that you'll be able to unlock and explore. Ultimately, you control the destiny of your artifact. You customize the path in which you unlock those traits, and you choose your path to greatness. Now let's get into the system a little bit more. So, Ashbringer. This is a quick screenshot of the UI for Ashbringer. Now, each artifact has a trait tree like this. It's kind of a grid that is overlaid on the outline of the weapon itself. And as you earn artifact power, you can spend them to unlock these traits. Once you unlock a trait, the adjacent nodes unlock and become things that you can spend power in. And ultimately, you choose what you want to work towards. You choose how you want to navigate this tree and what you want your weapon to be. And at the far ends of the trees are major impactful abilities, such as the one we see on the screen here. This is something that will essentially cause your Ashbringer to duplicate some of your most powerful abilities. Let's look at the Frost Death Knights. Again, different weapons, different silhouette to the weapons, and therefore a different outline to the grid, but ultimately the same general concept. You begin at a central location and work your way towards the things that you most want. As you earn power, spend that power on traits, and unlock powers. Some of these are going to be simple damage increases. Others are things that transform your rotation. Others are new major types of utility, like the one we see here, that allows a Death Knight to basically use Raise Ally on themselves to resurrect themselves in the heat of battle. Now, visual customization. So this was something that may have flashed by really quickly in the trailer earlier. As we see in the menu here, this Ashbringer, but then also a number of different variants on Ashbringer. We understand that in a world where many Red Paladins will wield Ashbringer, it's important to really be able to feel unique and like your expression is like your weapon is an expression of the character that you want to play, of the things that you value, and of your accomplishments in the world. So these different looks to the weapon are things that you will be able to unlock through a wide variety of means. Some of them simply by leveling up your weapon, others by completing specific activities, whether they be raiding or PvP oriented or more completionist things in the world as a whole. And within each of these looks, there's also a large number of color variants. So there's a tremendous total number of combinations for how you can have your artifact look. Now with Ashbringer, what we generally did, and what we've done with all of the artifacts, is you get the base weapon that looks like the sword you know and love that you've always seen in Tyrion Forgering's hand. It's the Ashbringer. Then there's sort of an evolved, upgraded version of it that once you reach a certain level of power with your weapon, you'll be able to unlock. But then we gave our artists the challenge of really just going off in exciting new different directions with these weapons, of trying to reimagine the fantasy of the sword. And that led us to things like an Ashbringer that's made out of pure fire, or a corrupted shadowy Ashbringer, or one that is shattered and being held together by crackling lightning. All of these have the basic silhouette of the weapon we know, but they have a very, very different feel ultimately, and there'll be things for you to work towards and use as an expression of the character you want to play.